What a cool tune. All right, hello
Oh
and
yeah.
welcome. Here is Martin from Bloodstream.com. And most importantly, I have Ben Savage from Whitechapel, streaming live from America. How you doing, Ben? How are you?
Hey man, doing great. It's yeah, good to be here.
So, Ben, first of all, we have a crazy world out there. How's your family? How's the member of the band? Everybody well and sound? How's everything around in America at the moment?
Yeah, everything's doing great. I mean, everyone's doing great right now. So my sister just had a baby, so excited about that. And
Oh,
yeah,
congratulations!
so yeah, it's
Awesome.
great.
All right, so we here because you guys gonna release a new album by the name Kin, and on October 29th.
Mhm.
What this album is about? For those who don't know you, you're the founder and guitarist in the Whitechapel. So who actually wrote the whole album, or who's involved in this process in the band?
Well, all the instrumentalists in the band, we write the music, and then after the music's completed, as far as structure and everything goes, we give it to our vocalist Phil, and then he takes what we wrote, and kind of interprets it in his own way.
So that means you do the music first, and then he's gonna put the lyrics into it.
Yeah,
That's the way you guys doing it. So
yeah,
do you know what the album is about? I'm sure you know. Just if you can
yeah.
just
Well, it's a continuation from our previous record, The Valley,
yeah.
and Valley is like a true events album. Is based off our singer's childhood, growing up in Hardin Valley, Tennessee, and just talks about the hardships he faced. We kind of masked it as a like an horror movie, kind of like as far as like the artwork goes. Um, so the Valley was based on true events, and Ken kind of continues that story, except it's more of a like a psychological story. It's a more of a fictional take. Talk about his teenage years, but like kind of like as if the darkness from his past kind of followed him into his teenage years and kind of manifested itself in a real like sort of being, and they kind of battle throughout the entire record. um, so that's what you're hearing on the new album Kin, is a linear storyline starting from the first track until the end,
Right.
where from the beginning until the finale. So it's a linear story, which is different than our previous album, which is more of like short stories.
Uh-huh.
Each track is a different thing, but this one is
It's more like
it's a
a
whole. Yeah.
whole
But
book.
and I wouldn't look at the album as a sequel either. They're like they're sister albums. They're like siblings, in a way. um
Right. So you guys are gonna really release this album on October 29th, and obviously, as a normal under normal circumstances, there is a tour back this up. Where you guys stand at this point, tour wise?
yeah, we just announced a tour today with Cannibal Corpse in February.
Awesome.
So that yeah, we're excited about that one. uh then we have a couple more lined up for the rest of the year, but yeah, that's it so far.
So you gonna support Cannibal Corpse
Hmm.
um, the whole time, or is just some shows, or what's the setup?
No, we're supporting them the whole run.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, it's about a month and a half, and we
Oh,
go
wow.
across the U.S. Um,
When does this kick
but yeah,
off?
kicks off February, like mid February. I think February 18th, maybe in Atlanta, Georgia.
Uh-huh.
Then we kind of go around the U.S. and then circle back around until we go to Fort Lauderdale. That's where it ends, and yeah, it's cool too because us and Campbell Corpse kind of like live near each other. They're in Florida and we're in Tennessee, so it kind of starts and ends around the same area, which is nice.
All right, so I have Ben Savage from the guitarist and founder Whitechapel on a radio show, radiobloodstream.com, and we are talking about the new album which will be released on October 29th. What's the plan? What kind of media we can see? So basically, there will be the normal CD, I assume, maybe some vinyl. What's the setup with you guys?
Yeah, we have exclusive merchandise on our web store, Merch Now, um, and yeah, we're releasing just content up until the album's release, and after the album's release, we have we did a bunch of like playthrough videos. Phil's doing like a breakdown lyrically of each song, and I'm
Uh-huh.
doing like solo breakdowns of
Yes.
like guitar work, and we're releasing a new single tomorrow
Ah,
called Orphan
Orphan.
with
All
a
right.
with a video to go along with it.
Oh, really? All
And
right. Cool.
yeah,
So the you said the album is as a complex, so goes as a story one by one through the album, and it's based some kind of like a sibling from the previous album, The Valley.
mm-hmm.
How where did you getting any like a inspiration? Let's say I know you like continues it from the previous album, but music wise, where you getting your inspiration from? Who's your maybe?
We just kind of we take what we've like learned on previous albums and kind of just expand upon it. You know, we're kind of in a sort of in a vacuum. We kind of just learn from what worked and what didn't, and all of our influences are kind of, I guess, become more open and more apparent as we kind of continue on. Um, but yeah, so like from with Ken, we knew we were going to continue the Valley story, so we wanted to make the music more dramatic and
Uh huh.
more kind of build and kind of you know have lows and highs and kind of take you on a journey. So we just kind of wanted, when we wrote the material, we wanted to have it be more expansive, and have a broader sound spectrum.
So you're hitting a tour in US. What's the plan? Let's say for Europe. Are you planning to do any tour in Europe or maybe another
Yeah,
countries?
we're in talks, in later next year, like maybe October, November, go to Europe. Yeah, but yeah, that's just still in talks. Nothing's set in stone yet.
So you don't want to say anything at the moment. Not even give us a little hint.
Yeah, no, not yet. I don't want
All
to
right.
jinx anything or.
Okay, dude. So Whitechapel. I just found out on the why you actually choose the name. What was actually the trigger to choose name Whitechapel?
Uh, well, just like with any band starting out, we just we throw ideas back and back. Throw like band name ideas, and Phil came up with the name Whitechapel based on the District of London,
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper, and
Yes.
that was a cool cool starting point because we wrote the first record as like a concept album about Jack the Ripper. So
Right. Yes.
and it kind of fit the sound of the music, kind of just the grotesque guitar tones, and just searing searing riffs, kind of you could kind of draw the lines with like Jack the Ripper, and he uses like medical tools for
Yeah.
so
All right.
it was a goal starting out, but the next record progressed, and we've kind of just done our own thing ever since. But it was a good starting point, and it's a cool band name too, because it's like if you don't know the story about Jack the Ripper, it just sounds like it's
Yes.
kind of ambiguous in a way.
Yes. True. So the Jack Ripper is this something you fascinated by, or is something is just a coincidence with the name?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I was into just interested in that the macabre, and just like
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff, like serial killers. And
Yeah.
Jack the Ripper is, a fascinating character,
Yeah.
from history. He's never
Definitely.
found. There's also, there's rumors he was actually, might have been Howard Hughes,
Yeah.
this serial killer from the U.S. who like spent some time in England,
Yeah.
and when he was during the time that the murders happened, but he was like one of the most, I guess, prolific serial killers in the U.S. Like he had like this hotel in Chicago
Yeah.
that he'd like murder people in.
Ooh.
But there's theories abound about that stuff, and it was interesting. I'm not really as into it now as I was like when
Yeah.
I was younger, but yeah,
So did you guys actually visit Whitechapel in London at all, or?
I have. I mean, I'm the only guy who's visited. I guess like in 2008,
Yeah.
we were in London, and I took a train ride with Freddie from Carnifex, and we went over to Whitechapel,
Huh?
and just walked the streets and stuff. But
There was a that it was it what you expected, or was it different?
I was different. It was kind of shanties. I mean, it's kind of they had a bunch of like it's like a flea market or something was going on out there, and I don't know. I didn't really see any like historic sites or anything, but
All right.
I
Okay.
ate at Whitechapel Fried Chicken, and I don't know. It was not good at all. Did not like it.
All right.
But
Um, so basically, what we need to know is when the album will be released on October 29th, as we know, and where we can find actually where we can pre-order the album as we speak.
you could pre-order it at metalblade.com/
Metal Blade.
Whitechapel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I mean, we have some variants on Revolver Magazine, revolvermag.com, and
Yep.
in Europe we have it at I think like Empiricon,
Yeah.
Metal Blade Europe, and
Yep.
yeah, so
All right.
they're out there.
All right, brilliant. So Whitechapel, band from America, Ben Savage, the guitarist and founder of the band, and we talk about the new album which will be released on October 29th, which I mentioned several times, and guys going on a tour with Cannibal Corpse next February. You said
Yeah.
starting supporting the for month and a half. So very excited. When was the last time you guys actually been out and playing for someone?
Um, so 2019, I think
Ooh,
December 17th, 2019 was
ooh,
our hometown show, and that was the last show we played.
oh wow,
But yeah,
long time
so
ago.
yeah, we've been home since then. So it'd be over, 2 years since we played a show. But we wrote a record in that time, and just kept busy.
So you actually did you have this new album in the kitchen, or was something you?
No, like we were gonna record the album after we did like a couple more like tours. Like we had a UK
Yeah.
headlining tour
Yes.
booked, but that got canceled. So it
Yeah.
kind of expedited the writing process once everything got locked down.
Oh well, it's crazy out there, isn't it? So hopefully we'll see you
Mhm.
soon in UK at some point. So you're starting with the tour in UK with Cannibal Corpse, and then we might see you somewhere in Europe end of next year. So
Yeah,
hoping we might see you, face to face at some shows in UK, let's say.
yeah, that'd be cool. I love
Absolutely,
it.
definitely. Okay, Ben, is there anything else you like to add before I let you go? And we will play a little bit from the latest album for the fans.
Um, no, no, we covered it. I mean, it's a very diverse record. I would recommend, listening to it from front to back, and taking it as what it is. It's a story. It's not
Yep.
genre specific music. It's open to interpretation, and it's most supposed to be a ride. So just keep that in mind.
Definitely, definitely. I love the album I have in hand, but we will release this album on October 29. Thank you very much, Ben, for your time. And hopefully, as I said already, hopefully I'll see you soon somewhere on one of the live shows, maybe in the UK or somewhere in Europe. Good luck
Yeah.
to you and all your fellow bands, friends from the band.
Cool. Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it.
All right,
Man.
thank you very much, Ben. Talk to you later. All right, guys,
Yeah.
and we will have a little bit from the play from the latest album released, and there will be new single and video tomorrow. However, for now, we have available the Black Suit Symphony from For Your Ears on RadioBloodstream.com. Stay tuned. Thank you very much, Ben.
Cool. Thank you.
Love it. Okay, and just hit the YouTube channel, Whitechapel, and make sure you give him a like because it's an awesome album. It's coming out October 29. All right, take care, guys. To you, Ben. See you, Ben. Cheers.
See ya.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.